All right, here we go. So, got the mold made out of aluminum foil. Measured it earlier in the previous video. Got a mixer, plaster of Paris. Just scoop this stuff in. You can do it in multiple layers. I do it in multiple layers just because it's easier to mix. I got a stir stick that I made. Just pour a little bit in there. I try to put about half of like that. Try to use cold water. I'm sure my wife was really happy about me using her laundry room for this, but it's nice and convenient, and it's got a sink in it. As long as I keep it clean in here, it should be okay. But pour about half of this in here, and then you put some water in until it goes up another quarter of the way of the measuring cup that you're using. So that tells you how much plaster. And if it's too thin, you can always thicken it up by adding more plaster of Paris. If it's too thick, add more water. I started out, when I first did this, I did it with, I made it always too thick, so I could always add more water. I got it figured out now, so I don't really need to add any either way. Just kind of do my mixture that I got, and it seems to work out pretty good. My mixing stick's got some good plaster stuck to it. But this gives you a nice rock wall. I'm going to be using this as a backdrop for the tunnel that I'm going to build in one of my next steps. But this is kind of the first step in what I use to build tunnels. Only because I don't want to build a whole fiberglass tunnel like you've seen on some other people's videos. I don't like to do that because it just is a lot of extra, and there's a lot of extra involved in that. This is super easy to do. So, almost done mixing the first round. That's it. That's all it takes. Water and plaster of Paris, and you pour it in there, and you watch to see if there's any places it's going to sneak out. Okay, get some more mixed in. Keep mixing until you got your mold all filled, and you want it kind of thick. Otherwise, it's not going to be strong enough to hold up. You want it to be able to kind of be on its own, not to worry about having something hold it up for you. And maybe that's me. That's probably my preference more than anything else, but I like it better that way. I suppose you could make it thinner than I like it. I usually make it about a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch thick, which is probably really extra thick. But that way you get all the different contours of the rocks from the aluminum foil. And that aluminum foil works so great. And I prefer to use the heavy duty aluminum foil. That seems to work the best. Regular aluminum foil I'm sure will work, but the heavy duty is it's a little bit stronger and sturdier. I use the same thing for my Traeger, so. This goes pretty quick. Once you start pouring it dries fast, so you want to get this mix. Once you start, you don't really want to stop. In an emergency in the middle of it, you're kind of in in trouble. So make sure you have time to do this. And you should just pour it straight in there. Like I said, just keep pouring until you get the thickness. And it looks like I'm going to do just a little bit more because that's all I got in the bucket. Plan ahead. That's my mistake this time. Didn't really plan ahead too good. Should have looked at how much I had in that bucket. I've tried to find that bucket elsewhere at Lowe's, but I haven't found it yet. They have boxes and they have bags. The bags are way too much. And I've done little molds and I've done big molds like this, and they all seem to work really good. There's no bad ones I've ever made. I've made some really thin ones that I decided were too thin, but I found places to use them. And you can use those on mountains that you've already built. But this is probably the mixture I'm making is more for standing on its own, which is what I want it for. Really kind of a soupy gravy mixture. That's kind of where you want it to start, but it'll dry. And as soon as I get done mixing, this last bit, I'll pick the camera up and show you what it looks like inside of here. All right, well, that's it. So that's what it looks like in the mixture. You can see a couple of air bubbles in there. That'll dry like that. And it dries pretty quick where you can take off the aluminum foil fairly quickly. And this mold is about 8 inches high and it's about a foot long. So it's a good size mold. This isn't small by any means, but works good.